Right then, good morning. Good morning to Zosha, good morning to my future family, and good morning to everyone out there on the internet. I'm in the workshop today, and it's kind of a sad, momentous day, but it's also a joyful day because I'm looking forward to the next generation of Workbench. So, this is my old Workbench, and I have outgrown it. In fact, I've changed it, what I do. And I want to talk today about taking down this old Workbench, why I'm doing it, and what I've learned about this. The major point is I've turned from being a woodworker into a woodturner. A woodturner has different requirements from the Workbench, and this is essentially a monstrosity in the workshop. It's taking up far too much space. For a woodturner, what a woodturner really requires is an assembly table, not a full workbench. Just going to change the zoom on this. There we go. Okay. So let's look at some of the features that, as a woodworker, you might want. You might want a vise. This is a metalworking vise, and I positioned it too low when I put it in, but you're going to want that vise. I'm going to keep that as a wood turner. I find it useful for holding pieces while I'm gluing them up, while I'm sanding them down, whatever else. So I'm going to keep a vise. I am not going to keep a tail vise. I don't need that anymore. This particular tail vise was a gift to me, and I've inserted it into the table afterwards. I don't like it. The reason I don't like it is because there are no holes through here, and stuff gets trapped in these holes. I mean, you can see very clear here, dust in here, and it's awkward to use. I prefer the modern version where you've got a tail vise with a pop-up bench dog, and bench dogs fit along here. So I definitely wouldn't do that again. I've got power sockets on the legs. I'm definitely going to keep that on the next bench, and I've got racks for clamps, and I think that's very useful, and I will be keeping that on the woodturners assembly station, I would call it. I've added a slab flattener to the back of this bench, and it's nice. I mean, it moves around the workshop, and it gives me a nice flat surface for flattening slabs. And I think I want to flatten slabs as a wood turner, particularly cookies, but typically I'm not doing such big items anymore, and this huge surface that I've put in here not only stands proud of the workbench, which restricts what you can use it for, but it's also just humongously long, so not very good at all for it. One thing that I do use this for is I move tools across to it, like a sharpening station or a sanding station. I'm going to be doing that with the wood turning in the future, obviously, but I've decided to make a space on the bench permanently for those two tools, so they are right next to me, so I can turn around from the lathe, I can sharpen my tools, and I can turn back and continue. And that's because I'm very lazy and I don't like to wander across the workshop to sharpen my tools, come back. I just continue turning, and it's both inefficient and dangerous. And lastly, there's some storage underneath. It's just basically a shelf that I can put very light things on. My shop vac was on there, for example. I think I'm going to keep that in the next version. I don't need the holes down here for clamping work to the vise. I don't need everything to be squared up and flat, as you might do as a woodworker. I don't need a leg vise or anything like that. Wheels are a good thing. I'm going to keep the wheels, but this time around I'm going to assume that the height of the bench has to incorporate the wheels in their rolling positions. Previously I calculated the height of the bench with the wheels in their flat positions. Fine, except in the real world I never do that. I've got 4 wheels. I'd have to go all around the bench and move them, then go all around the bench again and put them back in position. I never bothered with that, so that was a mistake. And then lastly, you know, I wanted to be fancy when I was first starting, and so I used real wood and made a top myself, and you know, biscuit joints and all that kind of stuff. And the truth is, it just warped. And so I'm going to use constructed wood, woodworkers skleker, or in English, waterproof plywood. So that's what I'm going to do with the next bench. So there is my old beast, and we're getting rid of that today, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much.